We loved Soulja Slim. He was our Tupac.
Slim could rap fast, slow, gangster, melody. And he made Slow Motion, which was a big record.
Street. That's all I know, so that's how I'm gonna spit it.
Streets are still talking about his murder today. And you got conspiracy theories. Everyone's got, this is what really happened.
He knew movers and shakers, drug users and drug dealers. He was a street dude.
He just got caught up with the streets. You know, you do stuff and then it come back on you.
You seem pretty sure that somebody was paid to kill him now.
Yeah, I do.
Who do you feel like is responsible for your brother's death?
I mean...
Do you think that the person that killed Soulja Slim is still alive?
I have no idea. Very possibly.
Here from New Orleans, it's a code that we live under. Somebody that's gone, we don't bring them back alive. We just let them rest.
As of 2022, there's been a staggering number of well-known or established rappers who've been murdered.
He deserved to be treated like a regular citizen.
The families need closure and justice.
I'm not interested in a kumbaya. Somebody died. It's just too late.
I'm Van Lathan, and I'm on a mission to dig into cases that seem to have been neglected or abandoned and shed light on the stories and the people so they aren't forgotten. 50 Cent, why did you feel like you had to make this show?
We're not attempting to solve a crime that's been solved.
I got you. We're asking questions and trying to get answers. We'll track down never-before-heard eyewitnesses and expose internet rumors.
So everybody was just pointing fingers because nobody had the answers.
And to get to the one thing that lets people have justice and closure. And that one thing is the truth.
They took a jewel away from us. I want the truth to be ours.
This is Hip Hop Homicides. Right now, we are on the streets of New Orleans to ask the question, who killed Soulja Slim and why? Soulja Slim is the biggest New Orleans legend that you may have never heard of. He is a rapper who is synonymous with the street culture that exists here in the Crescent City. During the time that Soulja Slim was coming up here in New Orleans, the scene was exploding. You had stars like C Murder, Master P, Mystical, Mia X, Silk the Shocker, BG, Lil Wayne, Turk, Juvenile, all making noise nationwide. But none of those people meant what Soulja Slim meant to his community in the Magnolia Projects and to the streets of New Orleans.
For my hood, as you can see, we in the New 123 MAGNOLIA. Gunno.
Slim's debut was released on Master P's No Limit record label, and it reached number 4 on Billboard's top R&B and hip-hop albums chart. After releasing 2 albums, he broke with No Limit and started his own label, Cutthroat Committee. At the time of his death, it was all happening for Soulja Slim. He had a song that was heating up Louisiana radio called I'll Pay For It.
I'll pay for it, I'll pay for it, if I want it, if I want it.
And everyone thought he was going to be the next big thing to come out of New Orleans. His song Slow Motion with Juvenile went number 1 just months after his death.
I like it like that, keep working that back. I don't know how to act, slow motion for me, slow motion for me.
He was a burgeoning hip-hop star that was cut down here on the streets of New Orleans. The night before Thanksgiving in 2003, he was killed execution style, shot several times in the face and once in the chest on the front lawn of his mother's house, where he also lived, literally feet away from where his mother slept. Months after the murder, one man, Garrell Jigga Smith, was arrested. Smith was rumored to have been paid $10,000 to perform the hit on Slim, but insufficient evidence led to his release, and he himself was murdered in 2011. Nearly 2 decades have passed, and Soulja Slim's case is still cold. The question is, who would want to kill Soulja Slim, and why? Did his street reputation catch up to him, or was this a hit for hire? Given how notoriously tight-lipped the streets of New Orleans are, especially on a case that hasn't been closed, I think this might be by far the most difficult investigation we've had yet. We're gonna ask questions until we find out. No one in the world knew James Adairell Tapp, aka Soulja Slim, better than his mother, Linda. So I'm grateful she's agreed to meet with me. Ms. Linda.
Yes.
I appreciate you talking with us today.
You gotta do it, because guess what? You gotta keep his legacy alive.
All right, so let's start at the beginning. Tell me a little bit about Daryl's early years.
You know, for rap, he was kind of laid back, but he loved it to draw.
So he was always in the creative.
Oh yeah, his mind was always wanting to do something.
Right.
On the porch, he used to be up there for hours cutting people hair. Like, and he was kind of tall, so I used to tell him, you know, boy, mama can't afford your shoes. Your shoes, big, your feet's big.
Right.
So he'll sit out there and cut that hair all day and then go run to Macy's and buy them Reeboks.
What was it like in, you know, the Magnolia Projects? That's a very notorious place. Was it that dangerous there in the
Back
projects?
then, yeah.
Did you ever fear for his safety when he was coming up as a kid?
Now that's one thing I never did because he knew what time to be inside. And then when he started that first rapping, I think he probably was like about 13. And I used to be looking for him. He used to tell me, Mom, you the only one be coming look for people, the other people. I say, because their parents don't care, your mama care.
What's the experience like listening to his music after he's been gone?
He is mama child. He got that arrogant and say what he won't say, how he feel, like his mama. Yeah. And I didn't ever know he had that in him. And I tell people, don't ask me his story. He tell you a story. You go listen to any of them CDs from the time he was 14 to now. He gonna tell you what he did, how he did it, and how it went when he finished.
How did it feel for you knowing that some of the stuff that you heard in his raps was him really talking about things that he might have actually done or things that he had actually seen?
I know my son, not certain things he did, but see, after I listened at that rap, that boy was real.
Soulja Slim's mother may have only been privy to his street side via the music, but my next stop is to meet up with someone who knew Slim in his teenage years, both on the mic and in the streets. Jermaine Tucker, better known as Six Shot, was one of Slim's best friends and earliest collaborators.
Oh, Shotty. What's Shotty? What's Shotty? Right here. Please Shotty.
Like Slim, he spent much of his younger years in and out of jail. And I want to ask him if he thinks Slim had any street beef that might have led to his murder.
He get out the car there and walk over this way to go up the steps. I was running with no shoes on when they called and told it to me. They said somebody just shot my son and he might don't make it. Just want to be able to get around there just to hold his hand, because I really believe I could have brought him back. If he just would have saw me, that's the kind of relationship we had. And they wouldn't let me go over by him. They just let me hoop and howl in the street, you know, but they would never let me go by him. I came back like that next morning and I went through the back door. I felt like I needed to be with my son. So I went laid in his bed on top of his clothes and wrapped myself in it because I couldn't believe he was gone.
When Soulja Slim died at the age of 26, he left behind both his mother and his 14-year-old sister, Danielle Porter, aka G.I. Peaches. Since her brother's death, Peaches has been vocal in keeping the memory of her brother alive and in who she thinks played a part in his murder. Tell us a little bit about your relationship with your big brother.
So I am 13 years younger than my brother. So when I came into the picture, he was already a teenager. And he was basically like my hero. When I was 4 years old, my brother was getting picked up in limousines, getting brought to concerts.
Do you feel like you got a chance to get to know Daryl, or was it always Soulja Slim?
Soulja Slim is who y'all know, but we know Daryl. That's who we all know. Like, we know him as just having fun in the house or make us laugh or crack a joke. He would wear this cologne that he would spray too much on. You could smell it from when you walk in the door to the top of the stairs, and you knew when he was getting dressed, because he'll do this like 5 stumps in the mirror, like he got to get his pants to fit on the boots right. That's my brother.
What do you miss about your brother?
Oh my God, everything. Just his personality and him being there when I needed him. So that's why it's so much anger, because I just feel like he hasn't experienced all the things I want to experience with my brother. Right. Like, from me having my daughter, from me graduating from college, all those things, my brother was supposed to be there to see it, because that's all he ever wanted, was for us to live a better life and for us to be able to experience things everybody else was experiencing.
Who do you feel like is responsible for your brother's death? You feel like you know who any of those people are?
I mean, I feel like I've heard names of who those people are.
The night before he got killed, he wasn't in a good mood.
What do you feel like was bothering him?
This a guy that had it all, but you know, you do stuff and then it come back on you.
My daddy was a known gangster in the city, known drug dealer. He told me everything. Now, what was all that? It's another thing. I don't want nobody playing with me.
I'm in New Orleans investigating the cold case 2003 murder of hip-hop artist Soulja Slim to try to find out whether it was a hit for hire. And I'm talking with Slim's younger sister, Peaches, who thinks she may know who might have been behind it. Who do you feel like is responsible for your brother's death?
I feel like it's mostly, the person that pulled the trigger, but I don't really blame him. I blame the people that paid him the money to carry out the job that he did. It never was one person. The multitudes of people that sat at a table and planned, I feel like all of them are responsible.
You feel like you know who any of those people are?
I feel like I've heard names of who those people are.
I saw a video that you did.
Telling people how everybody knew that you set up there and put a hit out on my brother. Talk about that, but he's Saint Master P.
You seem to say pretty resolutely in that video that you feel like Master P has something to do with it. Are the streets talking to you guys and giving you guys this information, or is this stuff that's coming from law enforcement?
This is law enforcement.
Okay.
If you go back into the dockets, you'll see it. They're the ones that threw these names around.
Even Master P's name?
Not so much him, but when it came to the people whose name they did mention, they were all connected to him.
Master P has never been seen as a suspect by the police in Slim's murder. I also want to disclose that I have a relationship with Master P. I've known him for years and consider him a friend, so I have a hard time believing Peaches' allegations. But I also want to understand why people close to Slim would believe this. So, I'll take a closer look at the beef that developed between Slim and Master P. Miss Linda told me about what she thinks were the origins of the fallout, which occurred in 2001, 2 years before his death, after Slim's second album with Master P's label, No Limit, and Slim was in jail. So Slim bought you this house?
Yeah, he was in jail, and what happened was, they say the taxes wasn't paid, but I ain't got no $10,000, I'm working at a hotel.
Yeah.
And we about to lose the house, so Slim was calling him, telling him about that money that, for to pay for the taxes on the house.
Slim thought that P should have paid the property tax.
Yeah, I think that's where that broke down came with him and Slim.
Whether it was animosity over supposedly unpaid taxes on his mom's house or something else, it's clear that Soulja Slim was upset with Master P. After he was released from prison, Slim put out a rather shocking diss track called You Gonna Feel Me, with lyrics that made overt threats towards Master P.
See me, I'ma keep it real. P wasn't up in no mail. So far, Jack the clown. Be cool, cause I could really make out some lost and found. I rode with 2 4 pounds.
After his relationship with No Limit was over, he felt a certain way and he got it off of his chest by making some disses. Did he ever talk to you about how he felt about Master P?
Of course, he told me everything. Now, will I expose all that? That's another thing. He wouldn't just
What don't you want to say?
Huh?
What don't you want to say?
I don't want, I don't want nobody playing with me. But yeah, it was some displeasure.
As tight-lipped as Six Shot was, there's no doubt Slim had expressed his displeasure in a very public way. But did the diss track get him killed? I've been given the opportunity to speak with legendary New Orleans producer KLC. His beats laid the foundation for the No Limit empire, and he was the one who introduced Master P to Slim. What'd you hear in him that made him stand out to you?
Him taking what he was going through on the streets and coming back in and putting it on a record. If he had an issue, he was coming to me to address it. Man, pull up a beat.
How did the relationship between him and No Limit get started?
Never forget this day. We was in the studio. P knew that I was about to bring him up there. He was like, look here, I'm telling you like this here, bro. If you're gonna bring him up there, he gonna be your responsibility, man, because if he come up here with all that dumb I'm just letting you know. But P instantly fell in love with him.
What was their relationship like throughout the time that he was on No Limit?
Everything was good. when I was there.
KLC didn't seem to know much on the breakdown between Slim and P, so I want to talk to someone who was tight with both of them. So I'm headed to meet up with Mia X, a hip-hop legend and the first female rapper signed with Master P's No Limit Records, and also a colleague and confidant of Slim up until the time of his death. Soulja Slim was a label mate of yours. You guys were both on No Limit Records. Where did he fit in, really, in No Limit?
Soulja Slim was somebody that could do anything. He could cut hair, he could draw. Slim brought the camouflage to No Limit.
Really?
Soulja Slim always wore camouflage something. If it wasn't the pants, it was a bandana. And P adapted what Slim had created to our look.
What was his relationship with P like?
I didn't really see P and Slim interact a lot because he had a closer and stronger connection that you could see with C.
With C Murder?
Yeah.
Who was, of course, Master P's brother.
Yes, they hung out. They were friends.
What was it like when you heard about his death?
When Slim got killed, it really felt like I lost a sibling. I just didn't think he would get murdered because of how much love people had for him. But fans is one thing, and then, you know, people in the street, which is another. You know, he did time. He knew movers and shakers, drug users and drug dealers. He was a street dude. Then when I heard he got killed by Linda House, you know, I was mad, you know, how disrespectful. His mama is my friend, like my sister.
Well, his sister has said publicly that she feels like Master P played some role in his death. Have you heard that? And if so, what do you think?
There were a lot of rumors. People saying, well, it probably was P, you know, because P have money. But I do not think P had anything to do with that. That was just a rumor because of the diss records.
Mia X was definitive that allegations of Master P's possible involvement in Soulja Slim's murder was just a vicious rumor. And I agree. I found absolutely no merit to these accusations. But then, who was it that wanted Soulja Slim dead? And why?
You just got caught up with the streets. You know, you do stuff and then it come back on you.
The streets, no, Guerrero Smith didn't pull the trigger.
So do you know what really happened?
I can tell you what the streets say.
I'm in New Orleans investigating the unsolved murder of rapper Soulja Slim. Master P's name has come up, but nothing I've researched, nor anyone I've spoken to, has given me any reason to believe that that's more than a rumor. I have a chance to go straight to the source. Master P has agreed to talk with me, which is extremely unexpected in light of recent events. I'm both surprised and tremendously grateful that Master P has agreed to talk to me during this incredibly difficult time in his life. What do you know about Slim's drug use?
Slim was brutally honest, and he talked about a lot of his struggles.
Do you know what he was using?
I would hear him say boy a lot, and in New Orleans, boy is heroin.
Heroin was the thing, right? You know, that was a hard time.
When he started rapping, that's when he got on the drugs and he started doing all kind of stuff, you know. I even tried to bring him to a rehab.
I can remember hearing his peers say, well, right now, Slim, you know, he not really focused because he's with that stuff. And then Slim will come back and tell you, oh, well, I bounced back. And like you would see him thrive, you know.
To talk to Juvie. Before blowing up as a rapper, he came up with Slim and the Magnolia Projects, and the two spent a lot of time working together in the weeks leading up to Slim's killing. I'm hoping he can tell me more about the early days, Slim's development as an artist, as well as his state of mind during their last days together. Tell me about the first time you met Soulja Slim.
Oh man, in the courtway, in the circle in the project. And he tell me, "Oh, you bounce for the juvenile, huh? Ain't you bounce for the juvenile?" He said, "I be rapping too. I be writing." I said, "Man, if you rap, let me hear something." And he started kicking his little rhymes and but they were all like one-liners. I said, "Man, you need to take this serious. Take your time and write a real song." And like the next time he saw me, he had a song. It was a bounce song. Said, "I never told you, I bounce with the out that wild magnolia." Like, all right, you say that magnolia, that was like the key line.
Right.
That was a trigger for me and any song. Slim really blew up. His local shows was like none other. Like fans with their hands up, singing every word, every song. I'm telling you, I was my Tupac, man.
Why is Tupac the comparison?
Slim work ethic was crazy. When he go to the studio, he gonna do 4 or 5 songs. I don't care when.
You remember where you were when you heard he had been killed?
I was with Slim the night before at Juvie Tuesdays, and it was a Wednesday. I left, I went back home. Bro, the night before he got killed, he wasn't in a good mood, bro. He said, "Big dog, I need some money. I don't have no money on me." I had like $1,600 in my pocket. I gave him $1,000. That was it. He took some money and left.
Yeah.
And the next day happened.
Well, what do you feel like was bothering him?
That's the $1 million question, brother. I don't know.
Something we do know is that only one person was ever arrested in Soulja Slim's murder, Garrell Smith. Although Garrell was later released for insufficient evidence, there was talk that he was paid $10,000 to perform a hit on Slim. There are probably a lot of people on the streets who've heard things about Slim's death that law enforcement hasn't. So I'm headed to Mount Olivet Cemetery, Slim's final resting place, to meet up with his son, Lil Soulja Slim. Just like his father, he's earned a rep on the mic and in the streets. And I'm hoping he can offer some clarity about who may have ordered his father's killing and who pulled the trigger.
Lil Soulja, man, I appreciate you talking with us today, bro.
Sure, bro.
Yeah. What has it been like not having your father around?
When he died, I was 8. So it impacted me emotionally, you know what I'm saying? Like, it bothered me for a long time. It still bothers me, honestly, you know?
What do you feel like you missed out on because of his murder?
I had to go and learn everything on my own. He didn't really get to teach it to me how he would have wanted to, or how I would have wanted him to, feel me? So we never had adult conversations.
I know the streets talk a lot. What do you know about your father's murder?
It was some street. I know for sure what was going on in the streets just based off, like, I really know his partners, you know what I'm saying? His partners really, like, helped groom me too, you know what I'm saying? So just knowing what was going on and knowing what I got going on and what I done been through, it was some street.
The guy they arrested for it, Garrell Smith, he was arrested, let go. Obviously, he lost his life not too long after that.
He ain't even do it. And he ain't even get killed about that. One of his own people snaked him and hit him.
You don't think he did?
The streets, no, Garrell Smith didn't pull the trigger.
So do you know what really happened?
I can tell you what the streets say.
And you got conspiracy theories. Everyone's got, this is what really happened. Streets are still talking about his murder today.
Is the person who shot Soulja Slim still alive, in y'all opinion?
I don't know what you're talking about.
There was somebody who was arrested.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Say, look, Slim, take your time and write a real song. Like the next time he saw me, he had a song. Do the demo. I said, I'm gonna go out of town for 2 days. I give him a copy of the demo and tell him, don't give it to nobody. You just listen to it, practice it. I come back, the whole project got the Now he done worked out some with Will. Will done convinced him to sign with him. I'm like, man, so you done stole my artist before I even signed. Like, bro, you done backdoored me.
I'm in New Orleans investigating a possible hit for hire in the murder of rapper Soulja Slim. I'm talking with Slim's son, Lil Soulja Slim. And he just told me that the word on the street is that Garrell Smith, the only person ever arrested in connection with his father's murder, was not the one who pulled the trigger. There were rumors that he was paid $10,000 to do this. But if it wasn't him, who was it? And did he still play a role? So do you know what really happened?
It was a job. He took it, but then he got somebody else to do it. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
A lot of people touched that money. The person who did it really got killed about that. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah. So you feel like it wasn't law enforcement that got to the bottom of what happened to Soulja Slim, it was the streets?
Law enforcement. Man, when you got money, this is New Orleans. Our mayor was corrupt. My daddy was a known gangster in the city, a known drug dealer. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah. Slim's son, Lil Soulja Slim, is certain that his father's street life led to his murder, and that Gorell Smith was not the trigger man. But I need some help sorting out the facts from the fiction on this case. So I'm meeting up with Brendan McCarthy, a former crime reporter for the New Orleans Times-Picayune. At the time that you got down here, even though it had been around 3-4 years since Soulja Slim's murder, were the streets still talking about his murder?
Streets are still talking about his murder today. You got conspiracy theories, everyone's got, this is what really happened. This is the tricky part about like who did what when, right? Police say this guy, Gorell Smith, who in his own right was legendary, because he was, by many accounts, a legendary contract killer. According to cops, FBI officials, everybody.
If it is true that Gorell Smith killed Soulja Slim, who ordered that?
Oh, I mean, that's the hard part, because none of this ever came to trial. Gorell, he became the poster boy of the fecklessness of the criminal justice system in New Orleans. Here's a guy arrested, implicated in 4 murders, and each time he gets out, and they don't even go to trial. Police can arrest somebody, pop them in jail, but especially at the time, it had about 60 days to actually bring charges. This is how the justice system works. You can't just grab people off the street, right?
Right.
So it became this kind of tagline, misdemeanor murder, in the sense that all these guys would be arrested and held for about 60 days, but then come 60 days, it wouldn't be enough to file formal charges.
And they're back on the street.
Boom. Back to the Slim killing. We've all been robbed of that clarity, or at least a really clear theory.
So the police had enough information that they were pretty sure it was a contract killing for $10,000, but they didn't know who pulled the trigger on ordering the contract killing.
They had a couple folks that they had kind of jammed up, and there were a couple guns used in that shooting.
Uh-huh.
Does that mean that there are several different people? Very possibly.
Very possibly. Do you think that the person that killed Soulja Slim is still alive?
I don't know.
Talking with Brendan has made me realize why it's so hard to find answers, especially on a 20-year-old cold case. But he's also brought some interesting things to light. Based upon evidence they found, law enforcement thinks that Slim's murder was a contract hit for $10,000. And they believe Gorell Smith was at least one of the trigger men. But I still want to know more about the why. There's a code that the streets of New Orleans are sticking to. And in my investigation, it's been difficult to get details. We've heard from Slim's son and others that Slim was deep in the streets and that he was wrapped up in illicit activities. Did he make an enemy that wanted him dead? To try and find out, I'm headed to Louis Armstrong Park to meet up with 2 artists who were signed to Soulja Slim's own record label, Cutthroat Committee, Menace and OG Booby Black. Being a part of Cutthroat Committee, you were with Soulja Slim basically in the post-No Limit days. How was he as an artist and as a man at that point when he was doing his own thing?
Pure hustle. Love the music, but it was a learning process because he was transitioning from being an artist to a CEO.
What I really want to know is a little bit more about who he was as far as his street reputation.
He gonna do his thing regardless.
Right.
He gonna say what he say, gonna do what he want to do, you know what I'm saying? But he definitely was one of the realest.
So would you say that he was more respected on the street or feared on the street?
More respect.
I say both, feared and respected. You know what I'm saying? Feared and respected, because listen, let me tell you something. Slim and actually gave me weapons to go do. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna handle. I ain't gonna say what I did, but when it come to being respected, yeah, he was definitely respected. And when it come to being feared, yeah, he was definitely feared too.
Yeah. Menace, what was it like around the Cutthroat Committee times when he was being a boss, being independent?
It was a sense, like, felt like a brotherhood. I'm gonna keep it real, like, and everybody was hungry, everybody wanted it. Slim was like, even though he had momentum going, he still felt like the underdog.
When he was doing his thing towards the end of his life, did he ever express any fear?
I don't know nothing about that.
Yeah, I don't know nothing about that.
I mean, sure, it's run through your head who might have done it. Is the person who shot Soulja Slim still alive, in y'all opinions?
I don't know what you're talking about.
There was somebody who was arrested that ended up losing his life later. Did you guys feel like maybe that was the guy?
I don't know what you're talking about.
I want y'all to get this. I want all of America to see this. This is how you do it. This is how you keep your mouth shut, right here.
I don't know what you're talking.
We've covered a lot of stories. People don't want to talk as much about this story as we've gotten in other places that we've been.
Here from New Orleans, this is a code that we live under. Somebody that's gone, we don't bring them back alive. We just let them rest. You know what I'm saying?
I helped this man, I took him out the ghetto. He went back. I love where I come from, but I left out of there because I didn't want to die there.
The police then say Slim had shot and killed somebody and helped get rid of the body with cinder blocks in the City Park Lagoon.
I know what kind of guy Slim was. Nobody can't come tell me Slim did something that I don't think he did.
The strict code of silence in the NO streets has made it hard to get clear answers to certain questions surrounding the murder of Soulja Slim. There was somebody who was arrested. Did you guys feel like maybe that was the guy?
I don't know what you're talking about.
But I am not giving up on trying to figure out why someone might have wanted him dead. So, I'm sitting down with three guys who were close with Slim and around him a lot in his final days. His DJ, Spin, and his friend, Juggy, and local TV host and club promoter, Money Mike Williams. So we've been talking to a lot of people about Slim. But I want to talk about Slim's life after he got out of jail and started Cutthroat Committee. Did he dive right back into the street life? Why do you feel like it ended with unrealized potential?
Well, if he wouldn't have went to jail, the sky was the limit.
Yeah.
Jail actually halted his growth.
Yeah.
Now, he came back full steam ahead and was on his way back without P.
Sure.
But within the time span, let's say 2 months, you could probably come up with 5 to 10 altercations he got into, or people he slapped, or people he beat up.
He's rolling in a Cadillac. Somebody else had one like him, and somebody thought it was Slim and shot the dude in the truck, thinking it was Slim, and it wasn't.
Oh, wow. It seems like somebody was really after him.
Listen, he was a great artist. Like, he was our Tupac, you know? Yeah. But, you know, if everybody just want to be real, I mean, we already know what Slim was also doing in the streets.
He was a street cat.
And you feel like that's more what got him killed than anything else?
Yeah, he was trying to make a turn. I just think that when he was trying to make a turn, it was just too late.
Over the course of my investigation, several people I've spoken with said that Slim was heavily involved in street activity up until his death. And Brendan McCarthy told me that law enforcement thought his murder might have been retribution for a crime Slim committed.
Talk to anyone in the neighborhood today. Oh, he was the realist. He was real. He lived what he rapped. So there's this other line of thinking that police put out there that is it retribution for what, right? Now, after Slim dies, the police then say Slim had shot and killed somebody and helped get rid of the body with cinder blocks in the City Park Lagoon.
After his death, police alleged Soulja Slim was involved in the murder of Robert Lee Page, who was killed just 2 months before Slim was murdered. Investigators said that a credible witness came forward with information that implicated Soulja Slim. Police Captain James Scott told the Times-Picayune that, quote, there would be no other reason for a person to come in and name Soulja Slim as a perpetrator after the fact. There would be nothing for that person to gain, end quote. There was never a trial for Page's murder, and Slim's family denies his involvement to this day.
I know what kind of guy Slim was. Nobody can't come tell me Slim did something that I don't think he did.
He was implicated in things, but did he really do this other killing?
Ultimately, we may never know for certain whether or not Slim was killed in retribution for a crime he committed. But many seem to agree that it was the pull of the New Orleans streets that might have been his downfall.
Slim was really into some but P kept them all so busy. Just imagine P got 20 artists and everybody on the road every day, in the studio every day.
I helped this man, I took him out the ghetto. He went back, that's a self-church. I love where I come from, but I left out of that because I didn't want to die there.
You know how they said the more success you make, you gotta lead a hood?
Yeah.
The bigger he got, he felt that he had to be there, and he stayed committed to his project, period.
We wanna win to get out the hood and help our people.
Yeah.
But what about the ones that win, make it out the hood, but then come back and wanna stay there?
Yeah.
Hard as I tried to keep him away from that world, he wanted to do this here.
Yeah.
So I had to let him do what he had to do.
Right.
And he always promised me, Mama, I got you. I'm gonna take care of you. You ain't gonna need for nothing. I'm telling you, I don't have to do them things I used to do no more. I can make it just off of my mouth. I can make it.
Soulja Slim's legacy is complicated. He was a flawed human who struggled with substance abuse, mental health issues, and legal trouble. But he also remains an icon and a legend in New Orleans. And shortly after his death, the Crescent City said goodbye in the most New Orleans way possible.
The second line. We celebrate. Slim going a new life.
I'm gonna say rest in peace, Soulja Slim. He just was loved all over the city, but you know, Slim was a good dude.
My brother got a mural in the 7th Ward. My brother got 2 murals uptown. He's one of the greatest artists from this city.
This city loves Slim, and they ride for him the long way.
Slim is New Orleans.
I feel you.
He in the clouds all the time.
What do you feel like the biggest lesson from his life is then?
I think anybody that knows Soulja Slim should celebrate him and also let the next generation learn from not only the great things he did, but also the mistakes, so not to do this. How we can live a longer life. And that's basically what it's about.